Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of On the Wave Podcast. Today we got a fairly unique and special episode for you guys. This is going to be called Life Questions Part 1. So we're going to go around the group and we have created two questions, big life questions for each other. And we're going to take some time and ask them to each other and see how it goes. Hopefully we'll get some crying and deep thoughts going.
Yeah, right.
Maybe not crying. But who wants to go first, Mac?
Yeah, so first of all, we're going to say, these are questions that we've come up with personalized for the person, and we have not told the person about it. So this is straight out of the mind. So he has no idea what I'm asking him, and vice versa. So
on the spot, baby.
On the spot.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. I have no idea what you're going to ask, and this is deep, so we're going to see how deep he's thinking and how deep I'm thinking.
There we go.
So let's get right into it.
All right.
Do you want me to go first?
Sure.
Let's do it. My first question is, where do you think your knowledge on what's good and what's bad comes from? What is it based off of for you?
Interesting.
You have to allow for some thinking time because we really are not prepared for this at all.
So where do I base
what's good and what's bad from? Where does that come from in your head?
For me, I'm a strong believer that everyone needs to go through phases of ups and downs to build knowledge, build logic, and, learn from experiences and everything like that. So, whether that's good and bad things or if that's life experience, it's a compilation of everything. For me, I think with the amount of traveling I've done and around the world and with skiing, that has contributed a lot towards what I think is right and wrong. Learning to be independent on my own, on trips, cooking for myself at a young age. All these little things contributed to knowledge and possibly, in my opinion, maturing earlier.
So it's like testing it out kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just going through life and eventually seeing oh, this hurts me, or this doesn't do good things for me, or if I eat this thing, it doesn't make me feel good, or
and not necessarily even for me, but just for people in general.
Right.
Or learning to appreciate the different cultures. So eating Austrian food and Swiss food, French food,
what's good and what's bad.
Right, exactly. Mexican food, whatever. Appreciating different cultures and also appreciating from my personal experiences. So I think I pull everything that I all my knowledge from experiences.
Right.
And I think that even from traveling aside, the summer camps that I did at Camp Chief Hector in Kananaskis when I was younger, I think I did it for 5 or 6 years type thing. But those outdoor experiences as well. I learned a lot from surviving as a group. We did 5-day canoe trips, 5-day hiking trips with no phones for 2 weeks and everything like that. That kind of stuff was just you learn a lot about yourself.
Yeah.
And there was this one experience where we were deep in the Kananaskis Valley type thing, middle of nowhere. And me and my buddy, we were making dinner that night, and we were trying to turn on the gas stove, and had the burner all the way up, and it wasn't going up, and we were trying to figure out how to light this thing. And so finally we figured out that we actually had to light it with a match, and the burner was still fully on the gas. Lit it up, and it just exploded all the way up. And my buddy, he had his eyebrows were all cinched off, the front row of his hair was slightly crispy.
Yikes.
And it was for the middle of nowhere, for that to happen, it was very risky and very dangerous. But we learned to not turn on the gas all the way. Yeah. So I think for me, it's just, I found that the more life experiences you do and the more bad decisions you make, really, the more you learn. Right. My dad has always said to me, from a kid, that logic is brought on by experiences, and it's either very painful or very expensive.
Dang, that's deep.
And
I like that.
I hated that as a kid because I was like, like I don't care about that stuff.
Yeah.
But now I understand, right? It's either going to cost you $100 or you're going to get hurt emotionally or physically.
That's a valid point,
right? Like either you mess something up with your car, like you say, oh yeah, I can last to the gas station and stuff like that. You run out of gas 10 kilometers before that.
Yeah.
It's going to cost you money to either get a tow truck to go fill it or buy the gas, walk back, and that's time and that's painful.
Painful.
Well, you gotta walk a jerry can 10 kilometers. It's not easy.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Right, but
10K is not
right, small things like
way.
that, right? But like even school, right? It's either going to be painful or it's going to cost you a lot of money.
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't have them, but at a certain point, that those types of things come into account.
Interesting.
It's just like I'm just very strong believer that in order for you to know and build knowledge, you need to experience stuff. And
to know what is good for me and what is bad for me.
Yeah.
It's based
on
what
is good and what is bad. Like I think even
just living through it.
Even people that people that go through very tough scenarios when they're younger hopefully come out in their adulthood a lot stronger. And it's because from that point you build resiliency and everything like that, and you're able to tell from the beginning what's good and what's bad. Yeah. And hopefully move on and move your life into a different direction.
Yeah. I think that it's a whole different topic, but like there's a choice I think involved in like if you let it own you kind of thing. Like if all these things happen to you, like some people wouldn't view it like that. Some people wouldn't like take that as a learning experience. They just think it's like part of their life and live with it.
And I've just been taught since day one to appreciate the challenges and learn from the challenges 100%. Because everywhere there's a negative, there's always a positive. Yeah. 2 negatives equal a positive. So
wow, big words from Logan.
Grade 10 math, no big but no, it's true, right? Like every single negative outcome, I've learned to move it into a positive and learn something from it. Yeah. Whether it's a breakup, a bad competition, an F up in school, right? Like I've learned something learn not to do that again. Yeah. Right. So that's kind of where everything's came from.
I like it. Good answer.
All right. That was good. That was a good one. Yeah. Okay, my turn. You ready?
Give it to me.
You ready? Okay. How much do close people, so loved ones and stuff like that, have an effect on your decisions? And when loved ones or close people around you are against you, how does that affect your decision if you're going the other way?
I think it does depend on the person, but I do, for me, like just my personality, I guess, sometimes, it kind of depends on the person as well, but like sometimes if someone gives me like criticism or something, or like I'll either like kind of turn my back to them, I guess, like a little bit, like kind of say like, oh, like, no, like, I'm right and whatever. Yeah. But then sometimes, like, depending on the person as well, or, like, even depending on the time, I'll say, like, you know what, you are right. And I always do, sometimes, like, it's hard to say, but sometimes, like, I say I like criticism, but obviously, like, no one, like, could constantly survive with criticism or whatever. But, like, I do like people, like, criticizing, I guess, but like giving like tips and pointers and stuff, and like telling me that I'm doing something wrong if I'm going down a wrong path. There are certain people that if they told me I was going down the wrong path, I would like seriously check myself and seriously like think about, oh, like if they're saying this, that means that like it's just like, I guess when you know their intentions and when you know their relationship with you, and you know that they're not just trying to like they're not doing it for any other intention other than like, dude, like, you're going to mess yourself up from going down this path. Yeah. And so, like, it changes based on the person, I think. But, yeah, some people I'll
say the top 5 closest people to you. Top 5, top 7 type thing. Like, the top people. If those people were coming at you and saying something different than what you believed, what's that going to do?
I'd seriously consider it. I think I'm a big thinker. Like, I take a lot of time to think about stuff, and like any free time, I'm like my brain's always going, and so I do think like if any of those 5 people came to me and were like, "Yo, like you're doing something wrong here. Like you're this is how you're acting. Like people are seeing this. Like I'm seeing this. Like it's not good." Then I'd check myself and say like, really, like is this actually a thing? And I'd make an effort to change it. But like, or if it's like a decision I'm making, I'd seriously consider that decision and seriously consider if it's because I know their intentions. I know that they're like if it's those top 5 people, I know that they're they're with me like not just like they're not just gonna say that for any other like reason, like I said before,
any other reason than for your benefit,
or for like my well-being because they like care about me. I know those top 5 people, they care about me, and I know that they want the best for me. So I would seriously consider like those people's opinions, and like I would consider that in any decision that they're telling me. Like I don't know, man. Like I don't know if that's a good thing for you, but yeah, like you were talking about before, like sometimes those top 5 people, even in my experience, like sometimes those you're like maybe you're one of someone else's top 5 people, and sometimes you got to let them live through the experience so that they'll learn. And so I've known people that have said that to me afterwards, where they've said like I was gonna tell you something beforehand, but like I knew you'd learn something, and I was like, in a way, I was like. But I was like offended. I don't know. I was like offended, but then I was like, you know what? Like I've learned something so big from this experience, like this bad experience, like you were talking about. Like I learned from it, and now like I'm forever changed because of it. Like I'm not gonna go back to doing something bad or like whatever. But so sometimes it is like those top 5 people actually sometimes not saying anything about like a decision that you're making, and you actually learn from it. So there's like 2 ways to see it, I guess.
Do you appreciate when people, like in those instances, when people challenge you with a different perspective? Like, do you find that useful, or do you always find it, or do you often find it like negative and just not like really, I don't know how to say it, but like, you know, if you were set on something and someone else was just showing you the other side of the scenario, do you find that constructive, or would you just rather you let go with go through with your decision?
Right. I think I am a pretty hard-headed dude. I think I'm like, I as soon as like an idea pops into, I'm like I said, I'm always thinking, and my brain runs like on like it just runs constantly. So as soon as there's like an idea and like pops into my head, like I've already outweighed like 5 options, and I know like I think of the best option in my head, and I've already like gone through this, and I've gone through them. But then it is valuable, like no matter how hard-headed you are, it is valuable for you to see another person's perspective in it. So when they come and they say like, "Oh, but did you think about this?" and it's like, "Oh, like in that 2 seconds where I thought of the 5 options and I chose one, I didn't think about
other
that.
options."
Yeah, and I didn't think about 2 of them, or I didn't think about 2 new ones, and so I think there's always something valuable from listening to other people's opinions, maybe even if they're not like the right one. It's good to learn how to listen to them and like accept their opinion. I know I definitely still need to work on it. I'm like I said, I'm pretty hard-headed, and I can be pretty like shutting down on people's ideas and stuff, but like I think it's very important to hear what people have to say, and then like actually consider their opinion, and like
you don't always have to
the
use
whole
it,
exactly consider their opinion, because like especially if they're one of those top 5 people, like you said, you have to like that you know they care for you, and they want like the best for you. So they wouldn't just say that if it actually didn't mean anything, or it wouldn't actually affect you. So yeah.
Makes sense. Interesting. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah,
That's a good one.
Ooh,
on the spot thinking.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It works the brain.
Exactly. Okay.
All right, let's hear it, buddy.
So, any given person will go through like lots of like phases in their life, like stages, and in those stages you've got like certain friend groups and stuff, and like what makes for you, and like even for like a general like person, so you can answer for both, like what makes like a friend group that like what do you value in a friend group, and like what do you think every like friend group should have, and yeah, like what should be like the main focus of the friend group, or like what should be like in every friend group or in your friend group? But you answer for both.
There's two parts. So I think
You answer for you first, or
for me, until I kind of hit 18, the friend group wasn't a very powerful tool for me.
right,
It wasn't a very significant part of my life because I had a large group. Like it wasn't a friend group. I had like one or
Tons,
two,
yeah.
three very close friends, but even the one or two, three very close friends were not my friend group.
right.
That was the difference. Is I had like three best friends, but that was not my group. I had three individual best friends.
I'm
That makes
confused.
sense.
Those
So, like,
three were your best. Those three were your
people
group.
were my best friends,
But that wasn't
those
your
three people and I would not hang out together.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. I know what you mean.
That's what I'm,
So like they're singular best friends. Like
exactly.
it's-
The
they don't
three of us,
connect.
or the four of us were not one group.
they don't.
The
Connect,
three of
yeah.
us were three different individuals, or like three different groups.
Yeah,
So for me, I had three very close friends, three best friends, and I had one giant group outside, and that was my friend group. So I had like 20 people, like right at junior high and kind of high school, there was just one big group of people I hung out all the time.
Yeah.
But it wasn't consistent.
yeah,
So it wasn't my friend group. And I think once I turned 18, then I was able to, I think I was mature enough to find, and I knew at that point who I wanted to be, or leading towards who I wanted to be. So I was mature enough to find a group of people who had similar interests in me,
right.
or as me. And from that, it just solidified. So I think at a younger age, it's just good to be friends with everyone and, just have fun,
Mhm.
right? Like there's no rush on finding your one group and then
Yeah.
sticking with it, because, even through elementary to junior high to high school, I probably changed friends and stopped talking to friends like 6 or 7 times.
Yeah. I think lots of people do. Yeah.
Exactly,
Junior high
right?
is
It's
strict for
part
them.
of the cycle. You just change interests, you change friends, you have a fight, you have no fight, and then whatever. Like you just change all the time. So
What are like the values for you, like in a friend group for you? Like what are the values that you see that are like important to have in your friend group? And then you can answer for like a general person.
for me, I love being challenged.
Right.
So I've always, like, recently I kind of read a quote that your friend group or your cohort type thing is the level that your group will be at is the average of everyone. So if you go into that group and you're the best one out of the group, that's the highest you'll go. As long as you stay in that friend group.
Huh.
So if you have other people challenging you in different aspects, then the only way is up.
That's cool.
Because I think that for a friend group at our age and in the 20s type thing, everyone needs to be great at something different. There's the one guy who's great at this, there's another guy who's great at this, and we are all challenging each other at the same thing.
Yeah.
And so, when, like in our group, that was the thing that kept me hooked and got me hooked, was that everyone in the group had similar interests, but were good at very different things.
Agreed.
And that's what was so healthy, is that I was able to learn off of each of the people in the group in different things.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that as far as kind of the business side as well, is that if you have other people that have done more than you, then you'll excel to that level, and it just keeps going up. And so, yeah, exactly. If you have 4 or 5 people, right, that are in different categories and that are better at you at those 3 other categories, you're now going to get better at 3 different categories because you have these guys that are better.
Friendly competition.
It's the same thing in sports, right? If you have better players or better people, better athletes than you on your team, you are naturally going to get to the same, or like you're going to improve a lot faster to their level because you're with them constantly.
You see their level.
You're breathing the same air as them, metaphorically, right? Like you're training the same way. You're looking at them the whole time.
Yeah.
You're
You see them a lot. Yeah,
it's a constant battle and a constant competition to be the best.
Right.
And that's what I think everyone should try to strive to be, is to be the best. You want to be a winner in life. Right? So
a lot of people don't have the crazy motivation that you have.
Realistically, to be a winner is not for everyone.
Yeah.
And not everyone could be a winner, because then no one would be a winner. Right? Like there are people that are going to be losers, and that's just the way it is. But you need to have losers in order to have winners, and you need to have winners in order to be losers. Right? So I find like for the group to be the best, everyone needs, like, the group needs to be a winner as a whole.
Yeah. And
move up in the ranks, and that's what I think that's the most powerful thing. Like,
right.
If what, like, as simple as like me and you, right? Like, I'm better at lower body and you're way better at upper body, right? So it complements. I'm always trying to catch you in your upper body, and you're always trying to catch me in the lower body, right? That's why it complements itself, and we're challenging each other to go further.
Yeah. Right.
Like, I get way better in my body just because I'm trying to catch you in some way.
Exactly.
And you're trying to catch me in my lower body, and you're excelling at an accelerate, right? That's the same thing.
Right.
So in a friend group type thing, I think that's the most beneficial thing you can have, is competition.
Is to be boosting each other
competition in different areas.
What about that? Like, in different areas, but not like business and motivation, but like just like in life, like pushing the other person to be a better person. Like everyone's constantly bringing each other up. Like, and obviously, like, you could talk about like having fun and stuff, but you're saying the most important part about a friendship is if you're actually bringing the other people up, and if you're like making them a better person by being friends with them
and by challenging them.
Yeah.
Right. Like I often challenge you with, like, and we all challenge each other with these life questions.
Right.
Outside of the podcast, right? Like we all challenge each other with, okay, is this what you really should be doing, or should you be doing this right now?
Yeah.
Right. And that's what creates the stronger friendship and more improvement.
Yeah.
Is the constant challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have fun and whatnot all the time. But
that's a side.
But that's a side.
You can have fun.
You can have fun with anybody, right? Like, but it's just that's what I find it being more powerful, or the most powerful, is the constant challenge.
Yeah.
To make everyone better.
I like that.
Yeah.
Good answer.
It's good.
I like this.
Okay.
What we got?
Here we go. Do you believe in destiny and faith and type thing? And do you believe that everything happens for a reason, or do you think that, you can just create stuff on your own? Like, do you think that there's a plan for you, or do you think it's just the way it is, or like you create it yourself?
I was gonna ask you the exact same question. I chose not to. I didn't like that. I'm gonna say I do believe everything happens for a reason. I believe in God. I believe that He is out there, like, watching over me, and He's got like this huge plan that, like, obviously, like, He's God, and like we just can't understand it, and He's got like this thing that's like He knows everything, so He can plan everything, and that's past, present, future. And so, like, I know that everything that's in your life, everything that's happened, everything that will happen is all, it's not like we have free will, but God knows what's going to happen. And like there's a plan set in place. It's a crazy thing to think about. It's hard for our human brains to think about that. Like we have human will, so we can change our fate, but God already like knows that. But it's a weird thing to think about.
Does that help you understand and move on with the negatives in life? Like, does that help you kind of like say, okay, this shit happened, like this was horrible, but obviously it was meant to be?
Yeah, I think so. I think like every battle, there's always a win at some point. I think, like you were talking about in your first question, like every mountain has a valley, every valley has a mountain, and like there's like or whatever. There's always gonna be something good and something bad. Like if it's a bad thing, there's gonna be something like good comes out of it eventually. And I believe that's just in my like personal faith and stuff. I think like God has a big impact on that. That like if there's something bad, that like He can turn it like into a good thing. Like He can turn like I know stories of like people that like drunk drivers that have hit like and killed someone, and it turned out to be like someone's kid, like someone's like 20-year-old kid, and like these people have actually like even though they're in jail, for the rest of their life, the parents of the kid actually went and like forgave this person, and like the amount of like actual like thought and like that'd be so hard. And I think that's so hard for any human to be like, you ended the life of my kid, like my kid that I created, and now I'm gonna be able to like forgive you from that. And like I think that's a huge thing for the drunk driver too, because he's already knows his mistake. He's gonna live it out for a long time, but he knows like man, there's something like about her that's different, and like I don't know, something good can come from that whole situation of even someone dying, like something good happening from COVID. I think there's just like different ways of seeing it. Like you can see COVID in a negative way, and you can see COVID in a positive way. Like yes, like lots of people have died, lots of people like from like suicides, but also from like COVID, exactly. And they've like there's been so much negative involved with it, but there are still so many good things. I think you just have to look for them. I think that's a big thing in life, is like your mindset completely changes when you look from the bad and like change it to the good. So instead of like looking for the bad things and being like, man, if one more thing happens to me today, like I swear I'm gonna like hurt someone or something. Like I'm gonna punch someone if like the next person that like like says something to me or whatever. Like, but you can change that, and you can look for like the positives. Like, you know what? I'm gonna go out of my way to say like, hi, how are you doing to someone that walks by me? Like, and like look at that, like the reaction on their face, and like you can look for the little things. And I think it's a big mindset thing, like looking for the positives and stuff in such a negative thing. I think yes, lows and I think I'm going off topic, but the whole everything happens for a reason is a big thing in my life.
Now,
for sure.
Are you, because you believe it so powerfully, are you going out and still trying to find it, even though everything's supposed to be planned? Like, or are you just letting it come to you as like you like? Do you think that everything will just come to you at its time? You'll get the opportunities at the right time. You won't get the opportunities at the right time, or are you still trying to like go out and find them?
As a human, everyone wants control of some sort, and like they want to be able to like control that, and like control whether like I want this to happen to me, so I'm gonna go like work for it, or like I think that's a different topic. But I think like when
because it's easy to say for the positives, but as far as the negatives go, do you mostly just use, this happened for a reason, let's figure out why, and let's find the positive in it, and then finding for the positives, that's on you to find. Is that a fair thing to say?
I think so. Yeah, I think that too, and like the mindset of like, I know there's gonna be a positive from this, and like just like continue not living like, you obviously move up from the low, and you like work to get better and stuff, but like just knowing that there's something good, and like having that like hope of that there's gonna be something good that comes out of this such a bad thing. And like I think any bad thing, there can always be like a good thing to like that you can like come out of it, or that you can like there's always something that you can, I guess, look forward to, or like have a hope for, I guess.
Yeah.
But
it's a good way to approach life for sure.
Yeah.
Like just knowing that to move on with the negatives and then turn them into a positive right away.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a tough question to answer. Like,
Yeah, it is.
straight up, yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to formulate an answer like right off the bat.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'd say
Yeah.
that was successful. I think
was deep,
we will be doing the part 2 and part 3 with Fadi and Bashar in the next few weeks here. So look forward to those. I think that was awesome.
concludes it.
Excellent. All
Awesome.
right.
Beautiful.
Thanks for watching On the Wave Podcast. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on TikTok,